And with that, welcome Bernie Kosar. What's up, Bernie? How you doing?
Hey, guys. Good to be with you.
We are doing well. Glad to talk some Browns with you, Bernie. We started today's show talking about Deshaun Watson and whether or not he should play against Seattle with the uncertainty of the offensive line. Bernie, in your opinion, how crucial are preseason snaps in games for a quarterback who's coming off an injury situation like Deshaun is? Does he really need those reps, or is practice enough?
I think I'm going to give you an articulate answer, but I was so mesmerized by you three and getting into the Guardians-Yankees coming up that I'm trying to make a smooth transition myself as a lifelong Guardians fan here, and looking forward to this matchup here these next few days. And as I stare at your Avon.
Avon Lake.
Yeah, well, we got Avon Lake.
It's not the same.
Oh, I thought I was going to go down the Avon St. Ignatius at Brown Stadium.
Friday night. That's a big game.
The stadium there.
That's Avon is our big rival.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah,
not the same.
Are they the purple and yellow?
They're purple and yellow. We're maroon and gold.
Okay. Well, with high school football starting, and I'm making my debut down at the Canton McKinley Warren Harding game tomorrow or Thursday night.
Yeah.
And then looking forward to Avon St. Ignatius Friday
That'll
night.
be a good game Friday night.
I saw you running sprints.
Today? Yeah, and some of the best lines. And I'm still going to answer that Deshaun question because us QBs, at least old QBs, we want to play in preseason. We need the time. We need the timing and stuff. And in the spirit of that, still thinking I'm a young QB, I went out yesterday with the 5th and 6th graders, and I found out that as a 60-year-old man, I am proud to sit here today and tell you, Tyvis, I have not lost a step. I'm
still faster than 6th graders?
No, I'm still losing the 5th and 6th graders racing. I am the same slow speed I always have been. They timed me with an hourglass yesterday. I wasn't even in danger of tearing my Achilles. Okay, I moved so slow. And I had so much fun out with the young men last night. That was for a 5th and 6th grade team, it was their first night of pads, and this morning is their first day of school. So I was honored to be out there. Yeah, and I am really slow.
Trust me, I watched the video and I was like, even the lineman passed it.
Yeah.
They never paid you for your feet.
There was one super nice young man who fell on purpose to make me feel good.
That's awesome. Good for that kid.
He's a great young man.
He's going far in life.
You know, he's going to be on Bernie Kosar scholarship as long as I'm alive.
So, Bernie, back to the question. Did Deshaun need to play, or is practice reps enough for him before the season officially starts against Dallas?
Hey, each quarterback were our own person, but I needed to play. And again, that was 35 years ago. But the timing, especially coming back from the injury, not playing the end of the season, getting some confidence and stuff, I know there's real uncertainty with the offensive line right now. And it's not the cast shadows or dispersions or put up a brush fire somewhere else to make excuses for it. But that is an issue. That's going to be an issue, it looks like, for at least the first part of the season. And it leaves yourself ripe in today's day and age for somewhat second-guessing by playing your quarterback, some maybe extended plays in the last preseason game. But I'd be asking to do that. I'd have been chomping at the bit. I needed to play some early. I think that gives you a sense of timing. I would caution, though, and this is very important in all the preseason games, and in particular the last one, if you're the starting quarterback, is you don't have to show anything to the Dallas Cowboys what we're going to do. And you don't have to prove our testosterone and manhood, okay, on a preseason game. So I enjoyed just getting ready. I enjoyed going out there and running a few plays. They weren't rocket science plays. They weren't plays that were going to make me necessarily look good. They were generally pretty safe plays. And I don't recommend for any player to go out there tentatively trying to avoid injury, because sometimes that brings it on. But you could absolutely make some easy type plays that aren't as dangerous. And I enjoyed getting into the flow of that, taking a few snaps, looking around the defense, and then a little bit of the crowd noise on the road. So I would recommend playing somewhat on this last game, but then I'd absolutely be really strategic to probably boring in my play calling. And I for sure wouldn't be setting up stuff that shows Dallas, and actually I'd be doing things that I know already I want to do against Dallas, and I'd be setting up formations and shifts and plays that make you think something opposite while not getting any more players hurt.
Bernie, Zach Jackson, Jason's boy, has put out this report that the Browns may be looking into trading DTR if they can find something worth it. Do you think that that's a good idea for them to trade DTR for, let's say, 5th, 6th round pick?
So, like last week, the big conversation was, how do you maybe get, with DTR and Hundley being so kind of close together and really both deserving to be on NFL rosters and stuff. But the way DTR is playing, there's like probably zero chance that he would get through waivers and get through into the practice squad and that type of situation. So with a young QB like that, who I actually really like too personally, on and off the field, the way he conducts himself, the way he works and stuff, that given, again, I'm an optimist and I want to look super positive, and when I was playing, I didn't give much, if any, thought to who the third Q was going to be, because I did not anticipate nor even consider the ramifications or possibility of me getting hurt. So Deshaun, that confidence and that belief and that single-mindedness is healthy for him and the team to think that he's going to be the guy. But you almost, like last year, you have to prepare if you're Andrew Berry in the organization. And DTR, I like him, and it's hard to find somebody that, he came in and as last year, and we won the Steeler game, and it was minimal offense, but he had a nice 2-minute drill at the end of games when most people buckle. I know I made a big jump from my first year to the second year, so I actually think that this would be something that I would really think long and hard about before I did that.
Sounds like you want to keep him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him. I like what he's learning. He's a sponge. And now to have Jameis Winston in there talking to him, Ken Dorsey, Deshaun, younger quarterback that knows that he needs to learn and grow. And then I like the snap on his arm, the zip of the velocity, the spiral that he's throwing, the quick release.
But Bernie, when you look at his situation, knowing that Deshaun's under contract for 3 more years, he'll never, don't you think he almost should want to go somewhere where he has a more opportunity to become the starter? Because if Deshaun's here for 3 years, his contract is for 3 years. If he has to sit behind Deshaun, he'll never be the starter.
Yeah, that's from a player standpoint. I think that maybe you have to sometimes think like stuff like that. I actually like him so much, and it's not like I talk to him every day or see him every day, but from what I see of him, I actually think he likes being here so much, and he likes the guys he's around, and he's growing as a quarterback and a person here. And good football players and good organizations and good coaches really get you to only think in the now, like what am I doing today, and not really thinking in the longer term. And that's not necessarily healthy for you. You should probably think in the longer term. But I do think that DTR, from a team standpoint, is thinking more in just the short run of what he could do here to make the team and get better every day. And it's working because he's getting better every day. And it reminds me of kind of this Howard Snellenberger, Jimmy Johnson line where they say you never stay the same. You get better or worse every day. Yeah. And I see a young man like that, he was a pro quarterback, and now each day he's becoming a little better pro quarterback.
Bert, you go first.
Go ahead.
How much of an impact does it have on a quarterback's confidence or mindset when there are questions about the offensive line? If you don't fully trust the guys in front of you to protect you and give you the time necessary, how does that play mind games with the quarterback and his processing and decision making?
So it does. It does. And, I'm thinking here, Jace, I'm looking over at you and I'm thinking, if I was in front of you as a press conference in and around my locker and I was the quarterback and stuff, and, I would say it doesn't bother me. And when I played, it really didn't bother me, okay? And people, you'd maybe say to me on another subject, oh, but you're compartmentalizing, or you're just trying to think positively a certain way, or you're just trying to create something in your head. Absolutely, I am. Absolutely. Because you don't want that demon in your head, that self-doubt. So even if it's F&E, false enthusiasm, you know, a little fake, you know, belief in yourself, or compartmentalizing, and again, I'm somewhat closer to the spectrum where you could just block out certain noises and certain things. Easier said than done, but blocking out that I'm concerned about the line, okay? And that's partly why I'm so injured at this stage of my life, okay? But to be successful in the moment, you know, to get the throw off, you can't be cognizant or considerate of the ramifications of getting decapitated, you know? And unfortunately, that's a possibility right now with some of the injuries.
When you have the injuries that they've had, do you ever,
Why you say it like
It was a very eloquently worded answer, Bernie. Like,
I guess my health and wellness program's working. My brain is coming back. I don't chew my words anymore. I say them.
Oh, shoot, that's funny. When you have the injuries, though, that this line has had, and as the quarterback, is it ever your job to go to them and say, what can I do to help you? Or is it always their job to come to you and say, what do I have to do to help you?
All right, God, that's a great question. I could go on a homily here, but this is what got me in some trouble with some of my coaches. But it's absolutely what I loved about my University of Miami old school background with Coach Snellenberger, Don Shula, and Jimmy Johnson, was you assumed that the coaching staff and the system took care of that. But you were groomed what it was supposed to be and how it's supposed to be taken care of. And in the Kevin Stefanski offense, it's very cognizant of pass protection. And I absolutely love how we could block 6, 7, 8 guys at a time. And early in his regime here, we had excessive amounts of tight ends. And I shouldn't even use the word excessive because I love multiple tight end sets. So I would, though, be in a nice way, because I don't want to stunt the line's confidence. I don't want to stunt the team's confidence. I don't want to stunt the receiver's confidence in my belief in the offensive line, because then they hasten their routes and don't properly work you DBs enough. Don't get their depth. Don't press your technique, because they're concerned, because I'm concerned, because the O-line possibly isn't blocking. So that sets off a domino. Then your DBs, you pick up on that. We're not pressing your technique. We're running our route short, and you're squatting on us from that perspective. So, like, I would absolutely be coming up with formations and personnel groups. And that's kind of what I was alluding to in the Seattle game. You could start putting some personnel groups and formations out there to show that you're going to have not free edge rushing defensive ends. And I would absolutely have tight ends in and around my left tackle in particular right now, because that's my blind side and stuff. And I said it last week, and I believe in this a lot. I wham the death out of defensive linemen blocking, and my backs are in the backfield, and they chip, excuse me, kids, you should be in school, but we chip the hell out of the defensive ends. Okay, and now it's 3 guys hitting one, and then you just got to make them think like that, and you got to make them hurt early in the game.
Am I crazy to think that we're going to be right back to 12 and 13 personnel in this offense? Like, we've spent the whole, like, they're revamping the offense. They're pulling this whole thing apart. They brought in Ken Dorsey. They're going to go to more of a spread. Deshaun wants to play out of the 11. In the back of my head, I'm like, they're going to wind up in 12 and 13 personnel. Like, it's just inevitable with the way that Kevin likes to call it and with some of the problems that they've had up front. You're going to see Nick Harris and Michael Dunn in there as extra blockers, and it's going to be the same way it was. Part of me just can't escape that thought.
Well, and Jason, is that bad a thought?
It's not.
It was really successful. We had fun.
I was against blowing it up in the first place. It worked out pretty well.
Yeah,
got to the playoffs with 4 different quarterbacks.
And it could be a hedge / an insurance policy against that, against injuries and against those type of issues if they keep manifesting itself like it did in the first 2 preseason games, from that, I actually think, and this is just me guessing and just kind of watching stuff, and then knowing some of the guys over the years. And I don't want to give away, because I know also the Dallas guys, and the people watch some of the stuff we say or I say sometimes. But if you watch what I think's going to happen and what I would be doing and what I did do in my spread offenses, my third down packages, my shotgun stuff, where I have 3 and 4 receivers out there, was you kind of got gimmicky, and you was able to try to throw real quicker throws and screens and bubbles and picks and stuff like that. So I actually could see that being a part of the spread package early, especially since we haven't shown a lot of it on film, and teams won't, the first 3 weeks of the year, teams don't have a lot of film to look at you. So you can get away with those type of trick plays. I love to save those. I don't say that demeaning. I say that with complete reverence, that you're able to save easy, safe plays. Yeah. But ultimately, you have to beat people up in the NFL football game, and you're going to probably morph back to multiple couple tight ends, multiple backs, and that's not the end of the world, because we looked how successful we were with that. And we've been actually in the successful stuff down the field in the first couple preseason games. I'll go back to the Jameis Winston play action pass to Michael Woods for the 22-yard square in the first quarter of the first game. That was old school, 2 backs, tight end, play action pass, 2-man route, post inside guy, square and coming behind it, 22 yards. Yep. So if the guy runs his depth, runs his route, presses the technique, we block it, I have time, I believe that me and that route runner could beat one guy like that with proper time, and I see us kind of, having that in our back pocket.
Yeah. Well, if you've been paying attention to the preseason, Kevin has allowed Ken, and I think it was somebody else, to call plays.
Tommy Reese?
I think it's Tommy Reese. He allowing them to call plays in the preseason. Do you think Kevin's doing that because he will allow them to do that in the regular season, or do you think he's doing that just to get them their feet wet?
So I think I would be doing that, like, to see how you do. Mm-hmm. I'm going to just see what you're going to do for that. We saw it with Coach Prefer, multiple years ago with the COVID issue, where all of a sudden he's the head coach, and Alex Van Pelt is the play caller. So maybe you get a chance, to get their feet wet, but also we're all getting evaluated. Yeah. Coaches are evaluating their coaches. The GMs and owners are evaluating the coaches. Coaches should be evaluating their assistant coaches like their players. Mm-hmm. And that was one of my kind of foundational things I learned if I was going to run a team, and it's kind of why I don't exactly didn't want to get into that part. In the stuff I learned from Coach Snellenberger, Don Shula, Jimmy Johnson, the stuff that came from the great Paul Brown and the great Bear Bryant, was they were harsh on their assistant coaches. Yeah. That was not a fun job. They got treated like, I don't want to swear, but that was a horrific experience, and they lived in mortal fear. Okay, so I don't believe, I don't exactly know that that's the mode to go to, but there was a lot of fear there, and fear is a heck of a motivator. As players say, we want to be comfortable, okay, but we tend to do better when we're fearful.
Jason asked Tyvis this earlier in the show in regards to Deshaun potentially playing against Seattle, and he asked Tyvis, does Deshaun need to get hit? Does he need to feel that first hit to kind of get himself fully comfortable back from the shoulder injury? Bernie, do you have any experience in that situation, coming back from an injury where that first hit kind of settled you in?
So it does in a real game, though. Okay, so I don't believe this is a game to go out to Seattle and let's see if I'm still a tough guy. You're a tough guy, Deshaun. You don't have to prove that to me, to anybody like that. But I I've done preseason games where I knew we weren't going to throw the ball. We were just going to hand the ball off 10 times. You're going to run 10 plays. You're going to call it, and the line knew it, the team knew it, I knew it, and it was boring. We did that at home. Fans booed. Boo, it's terrible, boring. You suck. Okay. The offense is terrible. You're too boring. You're too vanilla this year. Well, we're saving it, and it was strategic. I don't think that's the worst thing in the world for Deshaun right now. If he gets hit, and he feels better off it, but I don't think you need to manufacture him getting a couple hits in this preseason game. He's too important to what happens during the season, and hopefully that will happen during the season. But I just think going out there and handing the ball off, I would even say a bootleg, but sometimes the defensive ends are free on that. They're looking for that. Yeah. So you don't have to do much of anything. And let me just I'm not a spokesperson, but if it happens, and for the fans out there, let's chill out, because I would be highly recommending him to just be patient and the play calling to be just boring. Yeah. And we're going to wait up till 10 o'clock to find that out on Saturday night. So prepare ourselves.
I want to go back to what Tyvis was talking about with the play calling, different guys calling different plays. About a year ago at the owners' meetings, I was talking to a head coach, NFL head coach who calls the plays, who said the first drive of the second half is so difficult on me personally, because you're coming out at halftime, you got all these things going on. Now you got to come out with your first 3, 4, 5 plays. Was that your experience? I know the game has changed so much. Was that first drive, when you get the ball coming out of the half, is there something different about that first drive, and why would that be difficult on a play caller?
Wow, Jason, this is like I did a production meeting here beforehand. Okay. Sorry. That is in my master's program of teaching quarterbacks. That's what we live for, okay? As quarterbacks and guys who used to call their plays in the old days, that was all the work during the off season, all the work in game preparation for those first 10 or 12 plays that coaches like to get in the first quarter, okay? And you could spend your whole week deciphering what those 12 are, and there's a very real value to that. But Coach Snellenberger, the Don Shula, the Bear Bryant model absolutely got me ready, okay, for putting all that information in your head during the week, playing, getting ready on game day, playing the first half, doing what everything was supposed to happen. Now you know every change that happened in defense. It was before they came up with the new third quarter game plan and stuff. But you had it ready, so I was super prepared. That was the most important drive of the game. And I'm one of the guys that does not mind the term a quarterback who manages the game. I managed it, okay? And then you selectively try to kill people at the right time, okay? But you manage it. And the best way to manage it is that opening drive of the third quarter. When you get the ball, figuring out how to do something with it off of what the defense did, and then knowing what we're doing good today, okay? And then what we set up, that was really the key to our national championship at Miami in 1983, and the keys to my start to my career. My first start against the Houston Oilers at halftime, Jerry Glanville blitzed every single time on third down. We were in 4 receivers. He brought 7 people with side adjustment 100% of the time. Yeah. So at halftime, I knew that we were going to lose the game and then have to talk on Monday about what do you do when somebody blitzes you every single time and forces you into a sight adjustment on 3rd and 8+. You know? Yeah. Like, I'm not going to just punt every time. So I'd figure out, how do I bring in the tight end into the game and bring the extra back in, and okay, now we're going to block you up. Like I believe the Browns, like you said, we're gonna evolve to with the season. Yeah. And then the first drive of the third quarter, you have new stuff to take advantage of it.
Bernie, if let's say that Jack Conklin and Jed Wills aren't ready for the start of this season, do the Browns address the left tackle via trade, or do they just roll with Hudson or Affetti?
God, here's the thing with the trades right now. is we're all short on offensive line tackles. You know, I wish they grew on trees, or I wish it was just a money issue. You know, we can go to Mr. Haslam and say, please, you know, crack open the piggy bank. And I believe he would. You know, if this was a financial...
He definitely would.
Yeah, if this is
paid
a...
everything they've asked for so far. He's
they're all in on that. So if it was a financial issue, I think it would be no problem. I just think it's a quality issue right now. And then if they step in, how much are they going to know of the system? How comfortable are they going to know with Settons and you know those line, the Coach Callahan line and with Coach Andy now, it's even though it's 5 guys, you know they all kind of work in unison and stuff. And I think kind of bringing in a guy right now, you know, unless, you know, somehow Brandon Ayuk's trade turns into their left tackle, Trent, you know.
That'd be awesome.
You know,
That'd be awesome.
You know, if it's really Christmas out there, you know, they could send Trent here.
Bernie, last question. We got to get the Super Chats, but which member of the Browns receiving crop right now do you think you would have had the best chemistry with if they were playing back when you were playing for the Browns?
So I want to act like I'm really putting a lot of thought into this, which I am out of respect, you know, to the guys on the team.
But you already know the answer.
But man, like I love tight ends, and this isn't a University of Miami thing.
Yes,
and,
it is.
And again, our staff, our receiver staff, we got Deerfield Beach High School, we got St. Thomas Aquinas High School down there, and we got David Njoku from the U. But you know, whether it's Coop running those skinny posts that I believe he's meant for, the way he presses technique, but David Njoku in his size and speed and athleticism, and I just have this fixation, even as an old man here at 60 years old, I think of throwing the fade route in the red zone. And it's almost a sign of disrespect that if anybody, again, on David Njoku and me and any quarterback, at that size, speed, athleticism, the way those hands are, I'd be throwing them fades all day long down there, all day.
I know we got to go, but 30 seconds. Number one, well, first of all, Team Dome or Team Renovate? Which are you?
Wow, I am so, and it's not being on the fence. As an old school guy I said it last week on the show, you know, I didn't wear a mouthpiece. Kids, wear a mouthpiece out there. But most of my back teeth are in the field. They're in the landfill down there, down in the stadium. I mean, we're going to leave that for excavators here, you know, for generations to come. So I feel like my body parts are there. Yeah. My heart, you know, the emotion of being there. I just love that so much. You know, being at the old stadium. And then just selfishly, it's so hard to play there with the wind. I had to do it, okay? I want to see everybody else. The pain and misery of Saturday night or coming down and seeing that flag blowing at full mast and knowing you're screwed. You better have your quick game going. But from the Brook Park side of it, the Dome side of it, you know, there's the history, tradition, the old school. I mean, I feel like that's my house down there. So then part of me can't be okay with anything else. But then I look at a Dome. I think of a Super Bowl. I think of us. I see what SoFi is like out in L.A. I see what Jerry did in Jerry's down in Dallas and stuff. We could be the cutting edge. I mean, the renderings, my daughter's an architect, and the renderings that the architects did for this is beyond special. We could make not just our city, our state
How's your health? Where are you with your health? Are you good?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not just saying this to say it. I know we're up against the clock, but this is the best I felt. And for me to be coming back this quick and to hopefully have the liver be regenerating to the point where if this article didn't come out or I didn't talk about it, I think it'd be hard-pressed to know that I'm going through some of these challenges and stuff. And the more I keep doing this holistic functional medicine, this lifestyle with food as our medicine, I mean, even talking today, not to fish for a compliment, but to be able to spin out a few words and jokes and
you look great.
actually answer stuff that's intelligently said.
Yeah,
it
you
was
look
hard
great.
to do.
We couldn't let you go without at least getting an update and seeing where you're at.
Thank you.